What's up everyone, Zavi Donabidi, and owner of Organic Health Movement, team member of Awaken New Mexico. Coming to you today to present a little video on the sauna, one of my favorite tools for healing, for recovery, for improving your athletic performance. Now, the sauna is an example of intermittent whole body hyperthermia. Hyperthermia is exposure to hot temperature, to heat, and what that does for you is enhance endurance through a variety of means, but first we'll break down what energy system of the body it trains. That is the oxidative energy system. Oxidative phosphorylation is a way in which the body produces ATP to be used for any task at hand. When you expose yourself to a hyperthermic environment, you are training the oxidative energy system over a period of time. It usually kicks in full effect about 2 minutes after exposure, to increase the circulatory system of the body such that nutrients like esterified fatty acids, amino acids, oxygen are delivered to the skeletal tissue more efficiently. Now, when you're in a thermoregulatory state of conditioning, what ends up happening is the body starts to produce a higher stroke volume. A stroke volume is simply the amount of blood that is being pumped away from the heart at any given time. With nutrient delivery to the skeletal muscles, you are less dependent on glycogen, which is stored carbohydrate in the muscle, to be activated in order to accomplish the task at hand. Now, studies have shown that when you are consistently exposing yourself to the sauna, you will have a decrease in muscle glycogen dependence by about 40 to 50%, which for athletes is huge. It's difficult to find the right ratio of carbohydrate to protein to fat in your diet to really fuel your athletic performance, and the research and the studies that are going into really honing in on that which your body needs are pretty extensive. So without having to focus so much on what you're eating, the sauna is an excellent way to address your ability to integrate all of these beautiful nutrients that we bring into our body. Now, secondly, your heart rate during exertion will go down after exposure to the sauna. What this means is that your sweat rate will occur at a lower body temperature, which is a way of training the thermoregulatory system to work for you in whatever athletic endeavor you are engaging. One study even showed that 30 minutes of sauna exposure twice a week for 3 weeks post-workout increased one's ability to run until exhaustion by 32% just by exposing yourself to the sauna. And in addition, a 7.1% increase in plasma volume and 3.2% increase in red blood cell count was associated with using the sauna during that. Now, my second favorite benefit of the sauna is muscle hypertrophy, baby. And the reason we love that is as athletes, or perhaps those who love conditioning themselves, who spend a lot of time in the gym, gains, as they're called, are a wonderful byproduct of our efforts. Perhaps for some people that's what they are in the gym for. Now, the way that the sauna increases muscle hypertrophy is primarily through the release of something called heat shock proteins. Now, as you can imagine, saunas get pretty hot, and you're training your thermoregulatory system, so the body in response secretes heat shock proteins. What heat shock proteins do is they're very helpful for scavenging free radicals from the body. Now, oxidative phosphorylation, I mentioned that before. It's one of the ways in which the mitochondria of the body produce ATP, but some of the byproducts of that process are indeed free radicals, so superoxide, hydrogen peroxide. And we found in studies, specifically Nunamura et al., found that any sort of oxidative stress is antagonistic to protein synthesis. In that study, he found that oxidized microRNA was unable to find its proper target mRNA receptor in the presence of its oxidation. Now, when we take a deeper look at the oxidative energy system, we find that not only does heat shock protein help increase protein synthesis, we find that it also helps maintain levels of glutathione, that master antioxidant in the body. So when we think about glutathione and necessary antioxidants, they will be higher because the heat shock proteins are actually taking away those free radicals that the glutathione would be used for. So what we find when we expose ourselves to the sauna is that our net protein synthesis outweighs protein. Now, another favorite benefit of the sauna that I have experienced personally and that has been researched widely is the big increase in growth hormone that comes as a result to hyperthermic conditioning. Now, growth hormone is secreted in the pituitary gland of the body and is part of the anabolic function of our physiology. Anabolism is simply the ability of the body to restore, to digest, to recreate muscle tissue in the presence of breakdown. Now remember, as athletes, as aspiring, ripped, fit beings, whenever you work out, you're simply breaking down tissue. You are not necessarily building it back. So the sauna is a really powerful way of actually stimulating the body to repair and digest, although it's very intense and requires a great degree of mindfulness. So, going a little bit more into growth hormone is mediated by IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, which has been linked to net protein synthesis increase by stimulation of the mTOR pathway, and a decrease in protein degradation by inhibition of the FOX0 pathway, which regulates gluconeogenesis, which essentially is the breakdown of skeletal muscle for energy. mTOR is simply a way that the body integrates signals of stress, hormonal input, as well as any sort of growth factor input into the function of eukaryotic cells. Now, one study, Lepoluto et al., found that a 2-hour exposure to the sauna each day for 7 days, which, don't get me wrong, is a little bit intense, please don't go try that, produced a 16-fold increase in growth hormone, which is insane. Now, as bodybuilders, perhaps if you're listening to this, you inject growth hormone, you take anabolic steroids as a way of building muscle, but as a matter of fact, the sauna is right there for you to do it, baby, and it requires you to get down and gritty and really feel yourself through the process and make sure that you are finding your passion, your dream, and recalling that as a reason for why you are suffering the insufferable conditions of the sauna. But not really, it's actually quite pleasant. And finally, my third favorite benefit of muscle hypertrophy, or perhaps cause of muscle hypertrophy, is the improvement of insulin sensitivity as a result of hyperthermic exposure. When we think about what insulin does in the body, it helps us integrate glucose and amino acids into the skeletal muscle, into the cellular functions of the body, so that we can improve the way that we look, the way that we feel, and actually assimilate all of the things that we bring into our body every day. Now, when you think about that circulatory system, we originally said that there is more nutrient delivery to the muscles as a result of the thermoregulatory and cardiovascular expression from the sauna. However, with insulin sensitivity, we also see that there's an uptake in amino acid delivery to the body because the sauna improves our insulin sensitivity, which is just the way in which the cells of the body are able to use the insulin rather than insulin resistance, which is when we are completely kind of shut off to using the insulin secreted by the pancreas in order to absorb glucose. Secondly, we find that the sauna is helpful for inhibiting proteasome, which is one of the enzymes of the body that is linked to protein degradation. So overall, we see that with the sauna, there are a million different ways to benefit yourself and a million different ways in which to do it. I personally recommend about 15 to 20 minutes of exposure at around 180 degrees, but please be careful. I'm not recommending that everyone go do this. Check with your primary care physician before you go experiment, and make sure to take it easy, to take it one breath at a time, and use this as an excellent opportunity to practice breath work and mindfulness as a way of living your dream. I'd like to give a huge shout out to Dr. Rhonda Patrick, whose information I used for this video. She can be found at foundmyfitness.com. She's appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast as a podcast of her own. You may have heard her on the Peter Attia Drive as well. A lot of the information that she posted in an article on Tim Ferriss's blog was used for this video, so I just want to give her credit and also acknowledge all the fantastic work that she does. So if you have a chance, check her out. All the best.